So moving on to our next presentation is Melony van der Merwe from Viva. Melony will discuss from intention to impact, using data-driven technology to transform tourism, one bit and bite at a time. She will focus on how data-driven technology can lead to a net positive impact on the environment and communities. Melony, welcome to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, that is working. First of all, let me just see how this works. Okay, got it. Thank you so much to Green Destinations for having Viva here today, and for the city of Tallinn and then Estonia for hosting this wonderful conference. I'm very delighted to be here and extremely proud to be here on behalf of Viva. So before I tell you what Viva is about, I want to just first start off talking about what were and still are the driving forces behind what it is that we do. And I mean, first of all, I don't think it can be overstated that the pandemic had an insurmountable effect on what we do as a sector. And consequently, the sector woke up to its lack of resilience, and then also, subsequently to that, the fact that we have this climate emergency and that there's some things we really need to do about it. And some of us have actually encountered that firsthand. For example, we have to deal with the climate crisis as it is, and biodiversity loss. We've got the carbon crisis and flight shaming. You have diversity and inclusion and accessibility. Then you got aspects related to the transformation of the sector. You have shifting consumer behavior, as we've talked about earlier. And then you obviously have greenwashing and the disinformation that exists. So in the midst of this polycrisis, as we call it, and at the onset of COVID-19, and before we even decided that Viva is a thing, we gathered the top minds within the travel industry and the sustainability world to ask the question, how can we help? How can we help build resilience for the industry? Now, legislation is on the move, as we know, from the EU to Australia. Reporting is no longer just going to be the issue for the listed companies. I mean, as you know, and as you heard earlier, we all operate within an ecosystem of interconnectedness. You know, change and the driving forces are not going to be just the responsibility of the few. We all have our roles to play. And then the need for transparency has also increased. I mean, sustainability has become also this overused buzzword. Greenwashing is everywhere. I would forgive a lot of you if you are a little bit of sustainability fatigued. I know sometimes I am. And then, yeah, I mean, the situation has the risk of becoming just white noise. And then there are a lot of companies, destinations, putting statements out there without actually backing it up with collected and credible data. So one of the things that our founding group actually grappled with was that there was a big disconnect between what people really wanted to do, you know, the ideals and goals that we set for ourselves, and what was actually happening on the ground. We wanted to understand what that gap was. Why was it so difficult? Pledges were everywhere, you know, commitments were made, but no or little action was being taken. So how do you convert intent into impact? As you know, the hospitality sector employs 10% of the world's population. And the opportunity we have to have an immense impact is obviously quite large. And then also the opposite is true if we don't act and make some meaningful changes. Now, when it comes to solutions, the current model of certification is just not enough. I mean, when a business goes on a journey of getting certified, they're effectively dealing with 6 to 12 months old aggregated data. And then once they're certified, then it's going to be another 12 to 36 months before the next cycle. So we believe that continuous data collection and monitoring is essential. Because if you don't, you're not constantly knowing where it is that you sit, and you're not driving action focused enough and closer to where it is that you want to go. So regular data collection and monitoring first, certification second. So now, when it comes to, I think we all know where it is that we are right now. And I think that we all want to get to a better place. When it comes to what inspired us to move forward and how we thought we could help is that we were inspired by data-driven technology. I mean, it is obviously everywhere. And it's to help enable this massive effectiveness that technology has been driven within society. So when it comes to wearable, sort of health tech, I'm a big Fitbit person. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love it. I need to know how I'm sleeping. I need to know how much water I'm consuming, and so forth. And to even when you look at Instagram, there's all these personalized Instagram ads that has helped small businesses all around the world to scale quite dramatically. I mean, never in time have we had so much access to information as we do today to help direct our choices and decisions towards our goals much faster. So when it comes to Weaver, I mean, we wanted to develop something that was going to democratize sustainability. We learned that the biggest barriers to becoming a sustainable business are money, time, and tools. So our vision was that every business, no matter how big or small, can know how to measure and find their positive and their negative impact, and then to know how step by step to optimize their positive impact, how to mitigate the negative impact, so to make a positive contribution. And so as we built this business for business solution for the tourism industry and by the tourism industry. And we've heard from many destinations that we've spoken with and where we are working with that this has been such an amazing solution to engage their stakeholders to start driving impact, and also, most importantly, to measure. Because you cannot measure, or you cannot manage what you cannot see, and you cannot manage what you cannot measure. And so we want to encourage the use or leveraging of technology to be able to make better decisions and optimize business operations. Now, when it comes to the platform, as we all know, sustainability is complex and complicated. So many people don't know where to start. I mean, I think when most people think about sustainability, they think of climate action, greenhouse gas emissions, zero waste, whereas Weaver takes on a 360-degree view on sustainability. So our framework was inspired by best practices that break sustainability down into 4 categories. You've got conservation, commerce, culture, and community, and this is all very comprehensive. And these include the Sustainability Development Goals developed by the UN to guide destinations on some of these issues, to the long run, which is all about supporting nature-based tourism organizations in marketing genuine conservation and community impact. And so we used, or rather broke down all these complex processes and practices into something very manageable within our system. And then we added and expanded on that framework to add 18 different parameters, which each underneath sit a whole list of metrics that have each individual inputs and outputs that come through the system, so that you have a holistic view. So the Weaver, oh, that's not where I want to be. Oh, there we go. So the Weaver framework, or the product, was built around 3 core statements. Sustainability cannot be defined by just one metric or one parameter. Sustainability is not easy. sustainability is not a linear path or a direction. Instead, it's a journey and a loop of constantly improving yourself towards 360-degree sustainability. And we look at this approach in 4 different ways. Number 1, learn. Or rather awareness as well. Before you start a journey, you need to know why. Why is it important? So have that understanding. We have these amazing learning guides built into the system for everybody to understand why is it that they need to measure what they think they want to measure. Number 2, you have the measuring component. Now that you have the data, or rather the why, you are now collecting data with much more intent. And then number 3, it's about managing. Now you have all this data, how do you use it to drive action and actually do something about it? And then lastly, it's around meeting and exceeding. Because sustainability is an ongoing process, as we know. It's once you start meeting and exceeding your targets, you then realize there's much more that I could do, and there's much more that I didn't know I should be doing. So Weaver's approach is not just about a list of actions. It's actually about a continuous loop of learning and doing. So we've built the platform out quite comprehensively, which includes a whole host of resources and tools within to help you manage your journey. And then also, obviously, the reporting part, which is very important for many of you, where you have different ways of reporting, where you can set up your reporting based on different time periods, what it is that you want to see versus what you don't want to see, and also if you want to show something for your internal stakeholders and your external stakeholders, or for your partners, including your travel advisors and so forth. We have different forms of reporting that you can show your clients as well as your internal teams. So Weaver, in its current iteration, at its prime, it is available for accommodation providers, and we've seen a big uptake, particularly from those independent properties, small groups, those who don't have the resources necessary when it comes to expertise or money or time to be able to utilize such a platform that they didn't even know they needed until they learned about it. While we have the primary users as accommodation providers, we also have big collections. We've got tourism boards who basically house all of this within their community. And then some tour operators, some charter companies are also utilizing it, and that is actually something we're building out as the Weaver 1.2, which is coming next year. And it's, for me, what's actually very exciting is it's actually for the employees, because you are, again, it's not just one person who's driving all of this. Your entire ecosystem is an organization. The system is set up for you to be able to educate your entire staff, the whole organization, to understand what it means for each of them within their units, but also within their lives. So you really become this big ecosystem towards sustainability. We've had so many success stories within our short lifespan. And what the consistent feedback has been why people use Weaver is because we've created this very accessible and accessible when it comes to specifically price, and then also in terms of accessible for an entire organization, as I just mentioned, and then also holistic, because it really touches on all these different components that are necessary to be considered within the travel industry in particular. And we also have offered a very supportive community. We have support when it comes to the tech side, as well as how to optimize the system from a sustainability mind point as well. And lastly, I just want to close off by just wrapping it all up and what our mission, or rather our mission is at Weaver. And that is to deliver an affordable technology and a solution so that every tourism business can learn, measure, meet, and exceed their actions towards a positive contribution towards sustainable impact. So thank you very much for having me. I hope that was informative. And if you have any questions, I'm around. I don't think you can miss this hair, so let me know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Melony.